computer. Yep, we're good.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm Jeff Hannon with eXp Realty. I kind of know everybody. Kelly, I think we're Facebook friends at least. And we're gonna go over Facebook ads. It's kind of nice that there's, well, I'll generalize it a little bit for other businesses, but obviously I'm in real estate, so that's how I run the ads. But the mechanics of it are going to be the same for, like, for instance, what other businesses do you have in this group?
We have, let me see, we have a roofer, we have an automobile industry. So the other, it's just kind of like a wide range. And
Okay.
eventually we'll grow into just different specialties.
Awesome. Okay. So yeah, the mechanics of it and the whole idea of ads and copywriting is going to be the same for every industry. You need a hook to get people to stop and look at your ad, and then you need some sort of offer to get them to give you their info. So what we'll do is we'll start at the end and kind of show you some finished ads, some results, and then we'll go back to the beginning and walk through making them. So this is my ads manager. Right now I have just 2 ads running. One is for a listing that's going live today. And the other one is just down payment assistance. So Kelly, I don't know how much do you like down payment assistance? No. Well, you're muted, but I saw you say no. Well, I get that a lot with lenders, and that's fine. I get it. You guys, it's more work and a lot of times less money, but it's a really good low cost ad to just get people to raise their hand and say, I want to buy a house. I don't know how, I thought I needed all this money. And then once you can do a consultation with them, they may end up going down payment assistance, but a lot of the time they don't. They don't realize, I can borrow from my 401k and I can do 3% down conventional or 3.5% down FHA. So it's really, the design of it is to get people to raise their hand and say they want to buy a house. It doesn't matter that it's a down payment assistance ad. A large percentages of them do not end up doing down payment assistance. So that's one of my favorite ads, just for getting volume. If you can see $1.96 per lead. This one I've gotten 315 leads off of $600 spent. And if you have a good follow-up system, like we use KV Core for lead follow-up, you should be somewhere in the 2 to 3% conversion rate. And as you run ads, you'll learn your numbers. But for me, it's every 100 leads is between 1.5 and 3 deals, somewhere in there at some point, not like day one, but over like a 3-4 month period. So really, once you know your numbers, spending money on Facebook ads is just a math equation. It's like, okay, I know if I have this many leads, I'll get this many deals. Each deal is worth X. So I can work backwards and know that I have to spend $100 a month on Facebook ads to hit my goals. And if you consistently do that and have a good follow-up system, it's like a money machine. You put in $1 and like $8 or $9 come back. So that's this one. Single property lead ads work really well. So this is just one of my listings. It's, like I said, it's going active today. I've spent $24. I've got 36 people that have given me name, email, and cell phone. Now those are all going to one of my agents for him to follow up. Because I don't do a lot of business anymore myself. And this particular listing is my parents' townhouse that they're selling. So I don't want to represent the buyer on it because that's just not cool. So I'm just referring those out to him, but 67 cents a lead is ridiculously cheap. I mean, if you've spent any money on Zillow or realtor.com, you can be up where like 80 to 200 bucks a lead, which is ridiculous. So at 67 cents a lead, if I get 100 leads, and that's going to be, even if I do really bad on conversion, I get 1 deal out of 100. Even if I get 1 deal out of 200 leads, that's some quick math, like 120 bucks for a deal. I'll do that all day long. and even referring it out, it's profitable. So just to, let's show you the ads. Let's see if I go to my business page. Oh, and actually those numbers are low. So if you see on this down payment assistance, it's $1.96 per lead, but that's only the leads that filled out the form and ended up in my system. You also, when you have the ad, you'll have people commenting and messaging you directly that didn't go in and count as one of those leads, but they end up still in your system. So go here and we can look at the ad and we can see the comments. So this is what the down payment assistance ad looks like. You've got your image, which you want to be something that makes people stop scrolling. So I always try to put some words across the image to make people stop and read them. I try to kind of make them ugly. Sometimes, usually I'll use like an even more glaring color than that, but zero down across it. And then the ad copy is, if you're a renter and you're struggling to save a down payment, then you need to check out this little known program that provides a grant so that you can own your own home in as little as 45 days. So a couple things about the ad copy is that, little known program. So it's like a secret and it's, something their friends don't know about. So there's some exclusivity there. And then you give them a timeline. You could be in a house in as little as 45 days. And then this identifies them if you're a renter. So renters are going to stop and read this. Sometimes I'll call somebody out with the first line. I'll say, attention Tucson renters or attention Tucson homeowners, to get people to stop scrolling. And it's even better if you can narrow it down. Like I know Samarita, like great ads to run down there are USDA ads all day long. So you could basically take this and make it a USDA ad, which I know lenders like to do more than DPA. Maybe not. They're still not super fun because of the extra steps, but a little better. And then I have a headline down here, how to buy your own home without saving up a ton of money. Now, this is the cool thing about this type of ad, because when you run ads on Facebook, there's a wide variety that you can do. Most people, all they do is they'll have a post on their business page and they'll either push the boost button or they'll go to Ads Manager and run some sort of engagement ad on that post. This is a completely different type of ad. This is called a lead ad. And this post does not appear on my business page at all. It only shows up in people's feeds as I'm spending money to show it to Facebook's audience. And that is because the lead capture is built in and it's super powerful, and Facebook doesn't want you using that without paying for it. So when they click this learn more button, it pops up a form. Facebook knows that this is me, so it didn't fill in my info, but normally their name is filled out, their email is filled out, and their cell phone's filled out for them. All they do is click next, submit, and it comes to me as a lead. Because Facebook has all this info. And as you'll see when we start building the ad, you can ask other questions in here. And we'll talk about that later. I don't really recommend it, but you can. So that's the lead form. And so some people will click on that and become leads. That's where my $1.60 whatever per lead is. And then you've got people that just post interested. This guy said, if you can get me into a house, I will tell all the working poor I know. interested, please and thank you. Definitely interested. So the cool thing about people commenting on a business post is for 1 week, you can message them from your business page and they'll get it in their regular inbox. Normally if you're not friends with somebody and you try to message them, it goes into that hidden section and most people can't find it. A lot of these people can't find their regular messages. So, and you can see if they've seen them or not. So when you go to respond, let's see if I have any new ones on this. Oh, cool. So Sandra last night said interested. I haven't responded to her yet. So what I do is I always like it to get a little bit extra Facebook juice on it. And then I'll click message and it'll pop up right on your screen. Doesn't go to the messaging thing. And then what's really cool about this is you can have saved replies. So you spend time making the reply once and I can be like, okay, it's my DPA reply. So it says, you can personalize it so that it plugs in their name. So Sandra, 3 to 5% down payment grant, requires a 640 FICO, annual household income has to be below 103%, interest rates as low as blah, blah, blah. Assistance doesn't have to be paid back as long as you live in the house for 3 years. So this right here, the income limit, people get excited. They're like, oh, I qualify, like I make less than 103, and they'll tell you, I'm like, oh, okay, great. And then I added this in. You can actually customize your response to the person because you can see their profile, you can see where they work. So if you see that they're a nurse, you can say special incentives for nurses, but you don't want to get too stalky and like always say their exact profession. So I just do a general special incentives for healthcare workers, first responders, some spaces, government workers, and veterans. And that's just me giving them some sort of closing cost credit or a home warranty or something. It's like a program I made up. And then space, would you like to get pre-qualified for the program? And then my contact info. And so I'll send this to her, and she'll either reply or she won't. And so let's open this up, and you can also have saved replies for when they reply. So so she's a Spanish speaker. She's actually clicked on it before. So she has a 586. So this was from last May. So I definitely want to see if she's improved or whatever. Okay. So I could, if say she says yes, I would get a good phone number. I would say, okay, what's a good number to reach you at? And then depending on what loan officer I'm sending leads to at that point, I could have them plugged in here and say something like this one. Okay, Araceli from New American Funding will be the one calling. And this is the important part. Her cell is 520-808-0863. So you have it in your contacts. Adding that in has really bumped up the answer rates on phone calls. And they're like answering and saying the loan officer's name. They're like, oh, hey, John, how's it going? It's a really easy phone call to do an application at that point. And you don't ask them to put in the contacts. You just do the assumptive close, like her cell is blah, blah, blah. So you have it in your contacts, and they'll put it in their contacts. So that's an important conversion technique for that, but I'm not going to send that. So yeah, I have all these people that are going back and forth in Messenger. All right. Questions so far? That's just kind of like what the ad looks like, the end result. Now we'll go into building it. And I'm not monitoring the chat. So if you're typing questions in the chat, just unmute and interrupt me. I have no problem with that. Okay. So when you're in your ads manager, you're going to click this green create button here. And then for this specific type of ad, we're going to do lead generation. These are the lead ads. And then name your campaign. So without getting too much into the weeds, Facebook ads have 3 sections. You have a campaign, an ad set, and then an ad. And within each campaign, you can have multiple ad sets. So say you wanted to do some sort of home buyer campaign, and then multiple ad sets in that would be like different audiences. So this one's targeting Sahuarita, this one's targeting Vail, blah, blah, blah. And then inside each ad set, so for the one targeting Vail, you could have different ads inside that ad set. So this one has an image of a house, this one has an image of a family moving in, whatever. For the budgets that most agents use, I don't recommend getting like complicated like that. Just do one ad inside one ad set inside a campaign and test that out. And then if it's not getting the results you want, turn it off and try something else. But it's just really important to test. So if I'm going to name this campaign, I'm going to name all 3 sections the same to keep it simple. We'll just, for speed's sake, because I can make these fast, I'll just do a DPA campaign. So DPA, and then I put the date, February 12th, 2021, lead ad. And then I'll just copy that and name all 3 sections at the same time. And then you click continue. So that's really all you do on the campaign section is name it. And then you're going to get taken to this kind of secondary campaign screen that talks about special ad categories. So if you are in real estate or lending, you need to tell them that you are in those categories, and they're going to limit your targeting because of there's a HUD lawsuit and fair housing potentially violations. So all you do is click on, and then tell them your category. Housing. And then you just click, oh, if this is on campaign budget optimization, just turn that off. And then click next. And now we're in the ad set section of this ad. And in that section, we're going to do the targeting, the budget, and the schedule. So we've already named it. We're going to leave it on instant forms. You have to choose the business. If you have multiple business pages, as I do here, you have to choose the page that you want to run it from. And that will show up, let's see, up at the top of the ad. Right here. So this is what so depending on the page you use, this is what will show up at the top, and it'll say sponsored. Okay. So set your budget. Don't go below $5 a day. Even if you don't want to spend 150 bucks a month, do $5 a day at least, or even 10 is better. And then do it for less days. So you can just say you want to spend $50 a month, put it for $10 a day, run it for 5 days, and then toggle it off. There's just a toggle button. And then next month you can turn it back on if it was working well. So I usually do 10, it's random. I 10, 15, or 20 bucks a day. So this one will do 10. And I just leave a start date as now, and I don't do an end date. If it's working well, I'll keep it running. If it's not, I'll turn it off completely. But I'm watching this stuff all the time, so I don't have to worry about setting an end date. But you can. And you can also schedule. So if you do a lifetime budget, you can schedule when it runs. So say you want to have specific time where you want to call leads and you don't want them coming in randomly, you can set it to only run at certain times of the day. Since we have we use KV Core and they're going to get texted automatically as soon as they come in, I run it 24 hours a day. So that's the budget. This is the target audience. So because it's a special ad category, we're really limited on what we can do. So if you can see, I cannot change the age, I cannot change the gender, and I'm really limited on detailed targeting. I can change the location. So even though they limited our targeting, it doesn't matter. The Facebook algorithm is so good that as you spend some money, it will learn who is a good audience for you and who isn't, and it'll start improving the longer you run it. So I don't even do any detailed targeting at all anymore. I just edit the location and do Tucson or wherever you want to do, if you Saurita or whatever. And then the smallest radius you can do is 15 miles now. You used to be able to get down to 1 mile, which was really nice for like listings. You can do like a 2 to 3 mile radius because most people move within 7 miles of where they currently live. So that's a better audience for you. But 15 miles is fine, especially for a general ad like down payment assistance. And then this is going to depend on your ad. So if you're doing some sort of relocation or snowbirds like Green Valley, you might not want to do people living here. You might want to do people traveling here or people living or recently here. This means they've either lived here or they've been here most recently. For my DPA ad, I'm doing just people living here. And then that's all the targeting I'm going to do. If you speak another language, you can also target in different languages, which doesn't seem like it matches the fair housing objective, but it is. Any questions on that so far? Okay. So my map's messed up, but it's okay. So placements. So on lead ads, I only like to run those inside the Facebook newsfeed. So I'm going to go to manual placements and turn off everything else. So uncheck Instagram and then so there's Facebook newsfeed. All the other ones get unchecked. And you can test this like with marketing, everything's, just test what works for you. But I found this is best for me. And that's going to be it for the ad set section. So we're going to click next and then go to the ad. And so when you're making lead ads, you actually have to build the ad every time you want to run one. You can't just go find a post you've already made and run it because of the call to action button. So identity, we've already got our page. They're trying to get us to add back Instagram. We're going to not do that. You're going to leave it on single image. And the default image it brings is just a background picture from your business page. So you're going to go edit, change media. If you've used that picture before, it'll be here in your like little library. If not, you have to upload it. And I like these little grid ones. So like there's my just listed one. This is a nurses only program, hero home buyer. I like to do at least 3 pictures, especially for if you're doing like a foreclosure list or DPA ad. If you just have one house picture, people will call about that. They're like, I want to know about that house. And it's not really a house that's for sale. It's just some old listing photo you're using. So I always do kind of try to do multiple. So let's find my 0 down. That one will work. And then we'll leave it as square. Okay, so now my image is there and I need my ad copy. So primary text is going to go above the picture like this. And we'll just copy this. And paste it. And so on mobile, they're going to have to click see more. And you can kind of see a preview what it's going to look like. Maybe. Yeah, so there's the mobile. There's desktop if it loads. There we go. And then you have a headline. So I'll change it up. County grant program of Pima County, so they know it's local. There. So we'll just call it Pima County Grant Program. And then you can add another description below there. I don't. And then you have your call to action button. So you have some options for this little button here. Sign up, subscribe, apply now, book now, download, get offer, get quote, learn more. So depending on what you're doing, you can change that button. I always do learn more, but you can test it. If you're, like you said, you have a roofer, get quote would be a good one for him. And then you can send him to a form, a landing page form afterwards to give some more info. And then you want to leave the question format as instant form. If you're using some sort of chat bot, then you would do automated chat. But for now, we'll not talk about that. Okay, so our ad is made. Any questions there? Okay, there's one more step. For this type of ad, you need to create the form for them to fill out, or actually Facebook fills out most of it, but it's called an instant form. And all you do is click create form and it pops up here. First thing I do is name it. So all I do is just change the untitled to whatever my ad's about, so I know what it is. And then you go in here and form type, you're gonna leave that on more volume, not higher intent. That just adds an extra step and you lose people. For me, I would rather have more leads that are lower quality and get them in the system, because our system will email them forever. They're going to get houses. They're going to get drip campaign forever. And until they unsubscribe, people's situations change. So right now, maybe they can't buy, but if we get their credit repaired, they can buy next year. So more volume. That's a long way of saying leave it on more volume. Intro, you want to turn off, remove greeting. Okay. So on questions, there's first thing you have to do is undo this description. It says to let people know how the information they give you will be used or shared. I don't do that. All I do is say, how can we reach you? You have to have something in there. So how can we reach you? Question mark. Okay. Then your default forms are full name and email. I always move full name above, and I always go into contact fields, phone number. And that's going to be a cell phone 99% of the time. And that's all I do. So you can add questions there. So everything from these pre-fill questions is information that Facebook probably has and will autofill. But everything you add on adds friction. And then you can also add custom questions that Facebook doesn't know the answer to, but the person can choose. So back when you could target renters, I would sometimes ask, when is your lease up? Which is a valuable question. It's going to increase your cost per lead, but there's some value in knowing that, just so when you call them, you can kind of have a game plan on how to approach them. So, if they answer, 0 to 3 months, you can create some urgency. Say, okay, we have to move now. You need to talk to Kelly and get pre-approved, because it's going to take this long to get pre-approved, this long to find a house, this long to close escrow. And you can light a fire. And then on the opposite end, if they say, 9 to 12 months, you can approach it with, hey, let me ask you a question. If we found your dream house and we can get you out of your lease penalty free, would you be open to buying sooner? And a lot of people will be. So, well, it's tough in this market with it being a seller's market, but in a normal market, you can write it into the offer that the seller is going to pay for a lease buyout, which hopefully we'll get one of those markets here relatively soon. But yeah, so those are kind of the custom questions you can ask. You cannot ask about credit score. I've tried and it gets rejected. So that stinks, but you can always ask them once you have their info. So this is my form. I don't ask anything else besides name, email, and cell phone. Depending on your business, there might be stuff you want to ask pertinent to what you offer as a service, like, how old is your roof, or whatever the system is. If somebody's selling cars, it's, do you have a trade-in? What year is it? Blah, blah, blah. But to me, it's get their contact information and then ask those questions, because you'll lose people if you ask too many questions. Okay, so publish this form. Oops. Oh, privacy policy. Skip this section. Oh, I skipped 2 sections. Going too fast. All right, so you have to have a privacy policy on these type of ads, because they're giving you their customers' information, and you just have to agree to not sell it. So let me go to my KV core site, and I have it right here. So if you do not have a privacy policy on your website, your brokerage probably does. If you want, you can copy mine if you're in real estate. Mine just basically says you're giving us permission to call, text, and email, and you're also giving our lender partner permission to call, text, or email. So you have to have it. Copy that, go here, paste it in here, wait, link here, and then I just call it a privacy policy. Okay, that's done. Okay, and then the other section I forgot was the completion section. So you have a few different options here. One is you can send them, this is like the thank you page. You've already got their info. You can send them to a website, home search, whatever you want it to do, maybe some information on some loan products, even to a loan application if you want. You can also take them to a download page. So if your ad was 7 mistakes first-time homebuyers make that cost them thousands of dollars, get your free ebook now, you could capture their information and then automatically let them download the ebook. So they're giving what they were offered this, they're going to get it right away and they're happy. And then the third one is call business. And I like to use this one. It works really well. So you just have to put in your cell phone. And if they're on mobile, they can just click the button and they'll dial you. On a PC, it's a little more clunky unless they have an Android. So what I do is call now on the button. And then on the description, I say, thanks, you're all set. We will be in touch ASAP. But if you would like, can't type info, just click to call, or I always add the number in too up here, or dial 349-8766. Period. So this way they can, if they're on PC, they can just type it into their phone, or if they're on mobile, they can click the button and call you. And this happens quite a bit. People will register as a lead, and then my phone will ring and they'll be calling me like they want details right then. So then I click publish here. Hopefully there's no errors, good. And then I go down and click publish on the ad. Sometimes once you click that button, it'll freeze on this publishing stage. Not a big deal, you just refresh the page. This time it didn't. And so now it's in review. Review can take anywhere from like 5 minutes to 3 hours or even longer. But usually it's 5 to 20 minutes. It'll get approved, and then it'll be running, and it'll start spending money, and it'll show up in front of people, and you'll start getting leads. So once you start getting leads, there's a few ways you can get them. You can download them here from the Ads Manager. Just click the button, download them to Excel or a CSV file. But what I recommend is connecting it to your CRM. So whatever CRM you're using, some of them will sync directly into Facebook ads, but not many real estate specific ones. Actually, not any that I know of. But you can use third-party apps to connect it. And one of the not cool things about Facebook ads is Facebook won't tell you when you have new leads. You just have to go back and check. But you can use these third parties to manage it and go check for you. So let me hide this. All right, so I use something called Zapier. And it basically connects a bunch of different things, but what I use it for is going to Facebook lead ads, what I mostly use it for, and pulling the ads into my KV Core system. So this will check every couple minutes. If there's a new ad, or if there's a new lead, it pulls the lead into my KV Core, it notifies me, and then KV Core will automatically send out a text. Like these people came in kind of overnight, so they haven't gotten their text yet. But this person has, like Donnie texted back, I know. So this is as soon as they register, they get a text that says, thanks for asking about the Tucson Zero Down program. When would be a good time for a call to check your eligibility? And some people ignore it. Some people respond right away and say, hey, I'm available now, or can you call me after work, or whatever. And then I do that same text back when they give me a time that says, yeah, this is who's going to be calling you. Here's their number, so you have it in your contacts. And that really increases the answer rate, because people don't like to answer their phone. I don't like to answer my phone. Even like, I'm in sales, but if I don't recognize the number, I'm like, So you want to do the little things to increase that. And then also they're automatically going to go on a home search. That is kind of just a generic first-time buyer search. Tucson, Miranda, Saguarita, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 200 to 300,000, and they're going to get that once a day. So this is really powerful. Aside from the drip campaign, this is actually a better conversion than the drip campaign. Them getting houses from you every day with your name on the email. I've had people, I don't know what my briefcase says, I laminated the check. I've had people go to KB Homes and register with me as their agent. Never met them, never talked to them on the phone, but every day they're getting houses from me. And so when they walked in, they're like, hey, do you have a real estate agent? I'm like, oh yeah, it's Jeff Hannon. And they filled it out. And the only reason I found out is because those people emailed me the next day and said, hey, Jeff, we went out to Sonoran Ranch. We're going to buy one of those. They told us about this program where if we buy new construction, that an agent will guarantee that our house sells. We have a house in Continental Ranch. What do you know about that program? And I had thought they were kind of a fake lead because the email was really weird. And so I was like, oh, yeah, I know about that program. Make sure you read the fine print. And I sent that. That's all I said. And then they wrote back and said, well, can you list our house? I was like, sure, absolutely. Let's set an appointment. By the way, I can't help you with the KB home because I didn't go out on the first visit. Okay, cool, whatever. Set up an appointment, ended up listing their house and selling it. But later that day, I get a phone call from KB Home, the sales agent, and she's like, hey, Jeff, we need some more information on you, like Tony and Jennifer put you down, but they didn't have any of your info, and we want to make sure you get paid. I was like, are you serious? So I laminated that check to show the power of KV Core, because it's a killer. It's if it wasn't included with what we get, I would pay them. They charge $500 a month. I'd pay that in a heartbeat. Like I always say, if EXP disappeared, my first phone call would be to them with my credit card out. Okay, so and this is kind of an important point. If you're going to do any sort of volume with Facebook ads, you want to have some sort of CRM that works on lead conversion, because it's all about starting a conversation with these online leads and getting them to talk to you. That's the biggest hurdle to get past. Once they start talking to you, either they're ready to buy now or they're not, but they can go in your long-term system. But if they never talk to you, you can't do anything. So you need something like this. You don't want to be keeping track of them on, like, a piece of paper. You'll throw in money away if you do that. All right, questions. I think that's pretty much everything. Okay.
Great job.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was really helpful. Thank you so much.
I don't go into detail like when I do Facebook ads, Jeff. I have my business page. But I don't know if you guys all have business pages, but it does do wonders to your business. Like, and then putting in the money, like Jeff was explaining, it just really, really helps getting the word out there. Because I usually put like events on my business page for like classes, whatever I'm doing, and it does get engagement regardless, so it's definitely worth it. And a lot of people are doing Facebook ads right now, but what the problem is, a lot of them don't know how to do it correctly. And Jeff, he's a pro. He's been doing it for years.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I'll send leads to my agents, and they'll do deals with them, and I'll say, why don't you do Facebook ads on your own instead of paying a referral fee? And they're like, oh, I've tried them, they don't work. I'm like, that's where these leads are coming from. But it's frustrating.
Jeff, what was that program you said you used for follow-ups?
It's called KV Core, like K as in karate, V as in Valentine's, and then CORE.
Mm-hmm.
That's the CRM we use.
Okay.
And what's nice is we should talk, like we can connect after, but with KV Core, we can add lenders in, and there's no cost to the lender. So if I assign leads to you, you get to see their whole dashboard. And let me share this again quickly. Where's KV Core? So on this person that just came in recently, they're going to be on their campaign. They're going to be getting their search alerts. But say if I get a hold of them, I can add a note, CC lender, and say, wants to apply, and then save it. And then the lender gets an email, and then they also, if they're logged in, the note would be right here when they're looking at it. And then on the lender's end, they can do the exact same thing back to me. Like, I got them in credit repair or whatever it is. And obviously, if it's a really like hot, like, hey, yeah, we have a 750 FICO, we want to apply now, I just text the lender. I don't like go through the notes thing. But it's so you're not having to talk every time you do something with a lead. You can just leave a note. Okay, I left him a voicemail. It's just, you can keep track. It keeps track of all your calls. You can do voicemail drops out of it. You can do bomb videos. It's really cool. You can do mass text. What I like to do with older leads, this works really well if you have older leads. Call it the 7-word email. So say I filtered all these and I did them by the oldest and I selected them all. You can do mass email and then be like, quick question. And then the email is just, all it is, do you still want to buy a house? Question mark. That's it. Send it. And don't add a bunch of extra stuff like interest rates are low and I'm #1 realtor, blah, blah. It's just those 7 words, send it. And out of every 100 people you send it to, you'll get like 7 to 10 responses. And some people will apologize. Like, I'm so sorry. They'll tell you their story. This happened. My mom got sick, but actually now I am ready to go. And I thank you for reaching out. And it's like they think you wrote, a personal email, and it's just mass email. And then you can do the same with text, mass texts. So what, I didn't talk about this, and this is just real estate specific. So your other people, well, they weren't here, so it's no problem. But if you have a listing, you can do, like in KV Core, you can build these squeeze pages for that listing and then post it on different places on Facebook and then drive some traffic to it with an ad. And you can get all these email addresses. And then when you do an open house, the night before the open house, you just mass email, hey, we're having an open house tomorrow. It's going to be totally informal. Stop by. We have a lender on site. Just come by and chat, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So the first time I did that was, Andrea, you know Stefan Catalan?
Yeah.
So he just got his loan officer license, and he's like, Jeff, let's do an open house together. And I was like, I don't do those anymore. He's like, come on, man. And I was like, fine, let's do it. And I had this listing on the west side. So I did a squeeze page, just drove some traffic to it for the week. By Saturday, we had 90 leads for it. I did that mass email, basically saying what I just said, told him the times. And he was all excited. He printed out loan applications, and no exaggeration, he took 6 applications on the kitchen counter. No joke. It was ridiculous. At one point, there was a line. There was one guy doing his application and another guy standing in the kitchen waiting to do an application. It was nuts. One guy, his wife sent him there. He came in, he's like, hey, yeah, I'm supposed to get pre-approved. My wife's at work, she couldn't come. He didn't even look at the house. He came in, did an application and left. It was crazy. So you can do this, you can use ads to drive more traffic to open houses as well.
When was this? When did you guys do this, Jeff?
Oh, that was
this before the market?
That was right when he got licensed. Yeah, I mean,
okay.
It was a couple years ago.
The market got crazy?
Yeah.
Before people were standing in line to see open houses?
Yeah.
Well, that was really good. Thank you so much for your time and doing that. Definitely. And
of course.
It's been recording, so we're going to make sure to share it. I know that Gathia popped on for a little bit and then she had to leave again, but she messaged me and I said, don't worry. I said, it's being recorded so you can finish watching it. So we'll make sure to share with everybody.
Yeah. And Phil, like, as you're building them, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help walk you through it.
Awesome. Yeah, I was taking notes, so I think I did good, and we can rewatch the video. But that was really good. I learned a lot of stuff. Thank you so much.
Cool. Yeah. And so spend some money, like at least spend $50, because I do this. I've done this class for like a couple of years, and I'll run into somebody at a happy hour 6 months later. I'll be like, hey, how's it working? Oh, I haven't done it yet. It's like people just put it off. Just test it and mess with it and skip going out to Texas Roadhouse one day and spend that money on an ad.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We'll definitely get to do that. Well, thank you so much. I know that we started late, so I don't want to take up your whole morning, but thank you again. And hopefully,
cool.
Like I said, we'll share it so everybody else can see it and learn from it. And we really appreciate it.
Sounds good. All right. I will get out of here. You guys have a great day.
You too.
Great. Thank you, Jeff.
Everybody.
All right, bye.